quite a change, having people from the city come out here, because you say growing up, all the ladies went into Detroit when they wanted to dress up. Now you have Lakeside and people are coming out to you. How did that change things out here? The traffic?
Well, it still is, to us, how do you say, gets
Congested, yeah.
too congested.
Yeah.
You know, like for instance, we can hardly get out of our driveway anymore on 23.
Right.
That was the loss. But the big gain for the old timers, that is the old time farmers, was the value they got out of their land, including us. Yeah.
All right, because
Yeah,
you've
we got
never been able to farm as much.
We got fabulous money, you might say.
Right.
Most of them, yeah.
Yep. Go back and tell me.
Is he ready? Wait a minute.
Yeah, whenever you are, he's still rolling.
Tell me about the swimming. I asked when you were growing up, where did you go for water and swimming? when you had to swim?
Well, we did two things. We pedaled our bikes all the way to Lake St. Clair down Cotton Road quite often. Pedaled all the way down, whatever that is, 6-7 miles. That's what we did. The other time we came this way to the bridge, 23 Mile Road Bridge, and swam right there on the south side, where you'll see a high bank. Once you get the new bridge, you can stop and look over. Maybe I'll jump off of it, yeah. But that was a big part of that swimming hole was right there. That's called the old swimming hole. There was another place when we were thrashing, and sometimes Dad hired extra men, and of course they didn't know their way around, but you needed a bath bad. And they were just, how do you say, not vagrants. That isn't, because they were good people, but they needed work. They needed a bath. So there was some that came with motorcycles. I'd sit on the back of the motorcycle and steer them over. But then we went down, there's a house there yet, a farmhouse on this side, and then there was a lane. There was a really good beach type spot for swimming and bathing. Yeah. But there was a gang of boys from all over. There'd be 10, 12 of us. And I know sometimes the girls would steal our clothes and hide it. And local girls, were up to no good.
And then my question, what would you like the present Macomb Township residents to remember about our community?
Well, I think everybody enjoyed their life here. It was a quiet community, like I said, they're mostly involved with their churches and the social functions of the church. And now our schools all turned out very good. So I think all in all, it's been very good for most of the residents. I think some of the new people, I think there were probably some houses lost in this '07 business, but generally I think most of them have been well off, yeah.
And then what would you like the legacy of the past farmers to be?
Well, their religious fervor. I'm, of course, maybe I'm prejudiced that way, but I think our country needs it, and we still have it in our churches. A great fervor for mission work. We mission all over Africa and all over. We have people, family members that are rewriting the Bible to fit, for instance, the Konos. I don't know if you've heard of the Kono people, but there's all different. I don't know how many African dialects there are, but see, they rewrite the Bible so they can read it in their dialect. But there's a great fervor yet here. Besides, we've had good land. This is excellent land, good farming land, and now it's turned into houses. And it's worth more for houses than it ever was for farms. Yeah.
And the church, your church, was that original, or no, there was another church here, and now you built your new church?
No, that's been here. See, Emmanuel was first as a congregation. Because it was horse and buggy, and our religion believes highly in schooling, or parochial schooling. There was 7 families like along 25 and 24 that were riding their children to Emmanuel. So the school they let them build a school up there at 24 in Romeo Plank 5 years before the church started. So the school was 5 years older than the church. So they had the school, but they still were church members at Emmanuel. And then they decided, well, there was more development or more people, like Macomb Corners, some of that started out as a new church, or as a beginning of another church, yeah. 1982, I'm thinking, something like that. Somewhere in that area, yeah. Quite a while already. We're past 125 years. The school is past 130, so it's that old. And then of course, we had the chance to take on the high school, and that was a big thing to have happen. Yeah. Of all the things I've done, I was probably on all the building committees of everything. And there's a Good Shepherd Church down toward New Baltimore. I was on that too. We've been pretty well involved. I'm charter member of the Macomb Township Lions, but I've never held any big office because I've been too busy with church work. You can't spread yourself too much. Yeah.
Now, getting back to 22 and Romeo Plank, we had talked about that. There's still about 3 or 4 Victorian homes in that area. Do you remember the history or the people that lived in those homes? Because there used to be a sawmill at 22 and Romeo Plank.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, there was the white pine here, and we took them to the mill, I think, in Mount Clemens. We shipped them down there, but we did have a sawmill at 22 and
No, that's 21.
21.
21 and Romeo Plank. It was the Umpkes. His mother and dad, I think, owned. There also was a Mueller farm sawmill on 25 near the Lookman Road. That's long gone. But Dad hauled logs to both places. And then after they were closed, we hauled up to 29 Mile. There was a mill up there. Because a lot of stuff, like the one building we built, not all those buildings were built by Shaddix. We built an 80-foot storage shed, 80 by 50, and the whole roof is all oak planks. You could hardly get a nail through to put the roofing on. Hard oak.
It was oak that you had mentioned, not really pine.
Yeah,
right?
there's some pine, but most is oak. Oh, yeah, oak. If you look around, you'll still see a lot of oak. But what's happened where, like for instance, our woods, there's still a corner, probably 5 acres, roughly 5 acres of virgin timber standing there yet. From original, when I'm talking original virgin timber. And the reason it's still there is that it's on the corner of it's on the northwest corner of the farm, and there's a big ditch here. So we never bridged over there. It wasn't big enough to clear it. Yeah. But most of what you see timber standing is where the land was poor. They didn't clear it. It wasn't worth it.
And what did you farm? You said dairy, but what agricultural?
Well, because it's dairy, you need hay and oats, and then the straw from it, of course. Wheat was a cash crop, and of course my dad, I think my dad grew sugar beets. There was a big sugar beet plant in Mount Clemens, where they have that weekly sales stuff. Gibraltar. Right in that area was a big sugar beet plant. Yeah, most of these farms grew sugar beets. That was their cash crop. Yeah, labor intensive, horrible labor. Killed my dad, you might say it. It was such back aching work because there was no machinery. Now, if you go up to Bay City and see them, they got machines that pick them up and run them up with an elevator and dump them on a truck. And nobody handles it. When you plant them, they have to be blocked. They call it blocking. You have to thin them. You have to, with a hoe, thin them out. And then they had to be weeded, all by hand. And like Dad, then there was a big shovel plow that lifted them out and then they had to be topped by hand, and then they put them in a pile, and then they'd come along with a truck or a stone boat, little truck. Yeah. Now all that's done by machines. They go across with a machine and top them right off, right where they are now. It's really modern, yeah.
So what did you do for water out here? You said that for the fire department, you had to pump it, and you pumped it from the streams and that.
Yeah.
But for your farms, what did you use to?
But there was no irrigation.
Okay.
There was no irrigation, but we all had wells. You had to have quite a bit of water for cattle. Cattle
Right.
used a lot of water. When summer came, so these ditches did have water for them at some point in time, but after a while in the summer, they dried right up. But you always had to have good wells. If you didn't have a good well, you literally, like anything else, if you had a poor farm or not enough water, you limited the size of your herd. You could only have the size of the herd that farm could support. That was the limit, and that depended on how good the land is and how good a farmer he was. When you see good buildings there, that's a good farmer and a good farm. Yep.
When did you get water inside your house?
Well, originally in '53 we had a well. Water went past us. Let's see, when those guys got killed, 96. I think 96, 97, we put city water in. That's what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 96 or 97, I put city water in. We always had but I had a super well. We filled fire trucks from my well. It was so good. It just come right out. When we dug the well and opened, it's about 20 foot down, crock. I dug it by hand. We dug it down one night. We got all the way down to this hardpan. It was just like this. The crock was right sitting on hardpan. So the next day we went in with a guy. The guy that was helping me had a pump. And some water had, come in overnight from the side. We pumped the water up, and I had a pipe, a half-inch pipe, and I was standing on the ladder and trying to probe through this hardpan, and I finally broke through, and it wasn't this thick, was it? I think it was something like that thick. And I broke through, I pulled that pipe up, and the water followed me right up the ladder. Oh, it was a tremendous. So we had to get the ladder out, and we had to get the tractor and plow a furrow to the front ditch because the water would have run in our new basement hole. So it was grand water, just like sparkling fresh, yeah. So see, supposedly there's a Detroit River under us, all the way down. Not. It's called a Detroit seam or something. There's water underneath here that's, in some places, it's really good, yep.
Can you still tap into your well?
I still have the well,
Oh,
yeah.
still
Ain't
on.
supposed to have it, but I still do.
Oh.
Well, we use it for irrigation, for our lawn and stuff. Yeah, I have a pump on it. An emergency. It'll run. I have the pipe in the house in the basement. I can open the faucet and it'll run in by itself. The water's higher than the house. That was one of the scary things, is that the water table come up above the house level, or the basement level, I should say.
And then we have now a tree lighting ceremony that we do for Christmas. Was there any community events at Christmas time like that?
No, I wouldn't.
Or with
I wouldn't.
school?
All the churches and your homes. And like I said, the fire department, we have little doings usually, mainly so we'd be available for, something happening. Yeah.
Did you ever not make it to a fire?
No, I don't think so. I've got pictures. I was the cameraman. I was one of the only ones that would go on a roof, but high, going up because I was used to that. No, other than if I wasn't here, if I was at work for the highway department.
Right, you said there was a fanning out, so 5 guys would call 5 guys. I just was wondering if there was ever a time that no one made it due to the...
No, that worked I would say that worked very good, because most of them were working at home. I was one of them that wasn't always home, yeah, because I worked for the highway department. In fact, one of the fires, see now, because I wasn't here, my coat and helmet and boots were in the truck, in the side door of a truck. It was always in there. I didn't have it at home. Some of them had it at home or in their car. I didn't do that because I might be coming from someplace else. Anyway, one of the fires, this Meineke, I don't know why he didn't get his coat, but he had I was number 13. He put on my coat and helmet, and a barn beam fell on him, and he got struck with a nail in the head, almost killed him. But they took him all the way to Detroit and saved his life. Yeah, but my helmet and stuff got put aside. Nobody wants to wear it. I think it's up on the shelf.
Did they think it was you?
No,
that you
I
did
wasn't
that.
there. That's the other fire. I was on a bridge someplace. Yeah.
Did you do any bridges in Macomb Township?
No.
or around?
Now, the closest would be the two in Utica, where Hall Road goes underneath the railroad and Utica Road. Those two. And then M97, when we widened it, I got pictures of all that going up. Those are the three closest. Then I did all the bridges on 94 from Port Huron to 8 Mile. And then I worked downtown Detroit, well, out at, what is that street road? Well, anyway, when the riots were, I was downtown. And I did work on part of 75, mostly with layout, with the survey work. I had to do the alignment work on all the piers and the abutments and make a nice drawing of the cell, part of it, yeah.
Did you tell us your teacher's name in the schoolhouse that? do you
Mrs.
remember?
Mrs. Haas.
And where did she live?
She boarded, you know what, let me see, I'd have to really think. She boarded right across the road at, what was her name, Colts, right across the road from the school. And then she married, and another Mrs. Renwick came, and Mrs. Renwick was there when the war started. Because when the day of infantry, the day they hit Hawaii, she cried all day. Her husband was like 23 or something, and he was gone the whole war. She was still our teacher when this airplane crashed down behind us. Yeah.
When you went to school, then high school, you said it in Mount Clemens. Then did you meet new people that were not from Macomb?
Oh yes,
Oh,
there was that was a big scary thing for us
I was
kids,
gonna say.
farm kids, to go to a big city. Yeah, and there was always that, you had a trouble getting on the inside of that, because we were outsiders. But you developed your own friends. Yeah, there was four Lutherans and 4 Catholics. There's 8 guys. It was always what do you call it, ecumenical group. Mm-hmm. We had a great time, and now I'm 85. They're all 85. We've gone to 2 wives' funerals in recent months. Yeah, starting to go on us. Yeah, that group had a great time. Those are good times. Yeah. We would now see the boys get in a car and go to Fox Theater. Sinatra was there. We knew those guys before they were even very famous. We danced to them in East Detroit. There was an Eastland Park with a big glazed tile dance. The big bands. We're talking about the big bands. Take the girls there. And
Now, how long would it take you from here to get down there?
20 minutes, half hour. Yeah, not too long. There was no traffic.
They had roads.
Gratiot has always been there in my lifetime. But it wasn't as wide as it is now. It was 2 lane. And then see the original trolley car went all the way out Gratiot to 23 and up to New Baltimore and all the way to Algonac. Maybe even went to Port Huron. That part I don't think, but in my day, the tracks were still there, all the way to Algonac. See, that there was the big thing was to go to Tajmu Parks on the lake, and those islands up there. People rode on a trolley. But as far as using a trolley, we only used it from 8 Mile in sometimes, yeah.
I mean, I think Stan might have asked this, but grocery shopping, where did you go for grocery shopping?
Mount Clemens.
Oh,
And we only went Fridays. You only went one day. You didn't go like we do now every day. No, Mom and Dad had egg sales to the hotels. Those were Jewish-owned hotels because of the bath, because it was the bath city in those days. So they took eggs and some like pork meats, potatoes, whatever they had, and sold it at first, and then they went grocery shopping. That was their cash, like a quick cash income. Milk was the big moneymaker most of the time, yeah. It was a steady check. The milk was always a steady check. It wasn't, sometimes it was tough going, but the times were tough all the way till maybe 42, 43 or something. All the way from my 28 to 43, the things were tight. Dad couldn't buy tools hardly at all. He'd go looking at stuff and buy something used. Yeah.
What about any sicknesses, illnesses that might have ran through that people got that?
Well, what do you call it? That where they got it? I'm trying to think of. It was still prevalent. They hadn't beat it yet.
Tuberculosis.
The TB, for one. My grandma Miller died of TB. I never knew her hardly at all. Just maybe I was probably up to 5 or something when she died. But the other one where you get stiff.
Polio.
Polio was rather prevalent then yet. Yeah, it got beat out. Kind of. I don't know what year that was. Maybe in the late 30s or early 40s, probably before. Yeah, I knew personally some people. My brother-in-law had polio as a kid, and he would come out hunting, but he had iron. What do you call it?
Braces.
Some braces. Poor guy always felt so sorry. He wanted to hunt so, but he couldn't get around good. But so we would stand him on the end of the corn and then drive the pheasants at him. Yeah. Out here was super pheasant country.
That's what I was going to ask. What did you hunt?
Everything, but pheasants and rabbits and here. Mm-hmm. But see, if you look in our history, there was bear here and wolves. Everything was here at that time in them heavy forests. Yeah. Then the deer. See, then the pheasant. Well, what happened? Farming got so. They got taking all the fence lines out, and the forests got cleared out, and so pheasants had a hard time hiding, I guess you'd say. And also some of the poisons that we use for killing weeds killed the pheasants. Then the deer started coming in. So we got more deer than we have pheasants. Same way we have more turkeys than we have pheasants around here right now. Just saw some big gobblers this morning by the golf course. Big ones. Whew.
No bear stories?
Made my mouth water.
No bear stories? Nobody ran into any bears or had them?
Not around here, no, not then. But like I said, if you go back to the history, they had bear trouble, yeah. Now we have to go up north to hunt bear, or Canada.
I was asking about those Victorian homes, the 5 that are in that area. Did you remember the people that lived in those?
Well, I was trying to think who they were. I couldn't tell you, but I know that. See, my historical is, how do you say, this side of 23 almost. the 3 people that I've got from Emmanuel, if we can get them to talk, they would know. I don't know how they're gonna do with it if we do it like this. I've told them they'd be doing it in a group, but you might get 2, because they're gonna be more at ease. All of these people never were around like me. Like say, I've been around. I could say I model after Thomas Jefferson. I've done everything, and most of the Army is really, you know, once you leave home, like they say, you never leave Paris. So, I've been around and I'm used to talking a little bit, but the others are, I think once you loosen up, you'll be all right. It'd be interesting, but they would know about those houses. My cousin owned one of them at one time, but she was not part of that family. She just happened to buy it years ago, and she's not there anymore either. So can't recall whose they were. Yeah, there's some nice homes over there.
Now, there was no movie theaters, but I hear that you guys watched movies. Tell me next.
Yeah, the part of these stores in, how do you say it, advertising or bringing in business, they showed movies on the side of the wall. Yeah, up in Mead, here at Waldenburg. And it was kind of a night out, you know, let's see a movie, and of course then they sold candy and pop and probably a few beers. See, I was old enough when we danced, when I met Evelyn, I was old enough to go over to Waldenburg Bar. So we disappeared. I disappeared for a while. Good old days.
How long has Waldenburg been there, the bar?
Oh, the bar? Let's see, that, boy, probably in the 40s someplace it was built, I would think.
And isn't there stories that the farmers would come in their tractors?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, there was one that was there all the time with his tractor. And see that there's another bar down the road, you know, I think it's still Goldie's, but that's the older building. That's been there a long time. That was a stagecoach stop, that other one. You know, where the mail stop and everything, that running from Mount Clemens or Detroit to Romeo. Yeah, that was a major stop.
Did you remember Romeo Plank being Plank?
No, but I've seen the plank when we, you know, dug it up and redid some stuff. But I didn't never saw plank, so it was covered up. Yeah.